Picture yourself at the very end of your life. You're sitting in a quiet room, looking back at the years that passed like a fleeting dream. What will you remember? Will you feel peace, knowing you lived fully? Or will regret whisper in your ear, reminding you of the chances you didn't take, the words you left unsaid, the moments you let slip away? The truth is, most of us don't realize what truly matters until it's too late. We chase success. We worry about opinions. We plan for a future that never arrives, all while ignoring the beauty of the present. But what if you could learn from those who have already walked this path? What if you could avoid the mistakes they now wish they could undo? The good news is, you still have time. Today, we bring you wisdom straight from those who have lived long, full lives. They have experienced joy and sorrow, triumph and failure. They have loved, lost, learned, and grown. And now, standing at the twilight of their journey, they are passing their wisdom to you. These are the 5 biggest regrets of people over 80. And more importantly, this is how Buddhist philosophy can help you live without them. Pay close attention, because the greatest tragedy is not making mistakes. It's not learning from them. Regret 1. Not spending enough time with loved ones. I was always too busy with work. I kept telling myself there would be time later. But life doesn't wait. And before I knew it, my children had grown up, my friends had moved away, and some of them were gone forever. There is an old Buddhist saying, when you are dying, you do not ask for your wealth, your titles, or your possessions. You ask for your loved ones. The Buddha taught that all things in life are impermanent. Relationships too are fleeting. If we do not nourish them with presence and care, they wither away like an untended garden. And yet, how often do we convince ourselves that there will always be more time? More time to say, I love you. More time to visit. More time to finally sit down and have that long overdue conversation. Until one day, there isn't. A man once came to the Buddha, grief-stricken. His father had passed away and he was overwhelmed with regret. I always thought I would have more time, he admitted. I was busy and I kept putting off visiting him. Now all I can do is wish I had been there. The Buddha simply nodded and said, a tree with deep roots does not fall in the storm, but when the roots are neglected, the tree cannot stand. Our relationships are like trees. If we water them with attention and kindness, they grow strong. But if we neglect them, they will wither. The problem is, many of us assume our trees will always be there, standing tall, waiting for us, until we turn around one day and realize the storm has already taken them. How often do we tell ourselves, I'll call them later, I'll visit next time, only to realize too late that the opportunity has passed? There is a Zen proverb, when you drink tea, just drink tea. It reminds us to be fully present, not distracted, not preoccupied. When you are with your loved ones, be with them. Listen deeply, look them in the eyes, hold their hands. Because at the end of life, what will matter is not how much we owned, but how much we loved. Think of an elderly woman sitting alone in her home, staring at a collection of old photographs, pictures of her children, her husband, her friends, memories frozen in time. She reaches out to touch the faces, longing to hear their voices again, but the house is silent. The phone doesn't ring, the visits are rare, and she wonders, did they love me, or were they just too busy? One day you may be that elderly person, looking back at your life and wondering, did I show up for the people who mattered most? Or did I let time slip away, always believing there would be more? How to live without this regret? Call someone you love today. No excuses. Schedule quality time with family and friends. Don't wait for the right time. Be fully present in conversations. Put the phone down. Listen with your heart. Practice loving kindness meditation, metta, to cultivate appreciation for the people in your life. Because love is not measured in words spoken too late. It is measured in the time we give, the presence we offer, and the moments we choose to cherish. Regret too, worrying too much about what others think. I spent so many years trying to impress people who didn't even care about me. I was afraid of looking foolish, afraid of failing, afraid of being judged. But looking back, I realize none of it mattered. How much of our lives do we spend living for someone else's approval? We agonize over the way we look, the way we speak, the choices we make, always wondering if we are being judged. And yet, the truth is both liberating and sobering. Most people are too wrapped up in their own worries to be thinking about us at all. There's a story of an old farmer and his son who were traveling with their donkey through a village. As they walked, villagers laughed and said, "Fools, why walk when you have a donkey?" So, the farmer lifted his son onto the donkey's back. But as they continued, others sneered, "Look at that selfish boy, making his old father walk." Feeling ashamed, the boy got off, and the old man climbed onto the donkey. Yet more villagers whispered, "That cruel old man making the poor boy walk under the sun." Finally, desperate to avoid judgment, both father and son climbed onto the donkey, only for people to scoff. How cruel. That poor donkey is being overworked. By the end of their journey, the farmer and his son had tried to please everyone, and in the process, they pleased no one, not even themselves. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises when we attach too much importance to things that are beyond our control, including other people's opinions. The Buddha himself faced criticism, doubt, and ridicule, but he remained unshaken, like a great tree standing firm in the storm. A story from the Buddha's life illustrates this beautifully. One day, a man approached the Buddha and began to insult him. But instead of reacting, the Buddha simply asked, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man replied, "To the giver, of course." Then the Buddha said, "I refuse to accept your insults." And so it is with judgment. When someone criticizes you, you do not have to accept it as truth. The opinions of others belong to them, not you. Imagine lying on your deathbed, reflecting on your life, and realizing how much time you wasted worrying about what strangers, colleagues, or even acquaintances thought of you. Wouldn't you wish you had lived more freely, spoken your mind, chased your dreams without hesitation? The monk Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "You are not an object for people to use. You are a flower, blooming in your own way. If you spend your life bending to the expectations of others, you never truly bloom. You merely exist as a shadow of what you were meant to be." How to live without this regret? Remember, people think about you far less than you imagine. Live for yourself. Practice self-acceptance through mindfulness and meditation. Let go of the need for approval. True happiness comes from within, not from external validation. Reflect on the impermanence of opinions. What people think of you today will be forgotten tomorrow. At the end of your journey, the only person whose judgment will truly matter is your own. So will you live as your most authentic self, or will you let the fleeting whispers of others dictate your path? The choice is yours. Regret 3. Not taking care of their health sooner. I thought I had time. I ignored the little pains, the bad habits. I always told myself I'd start eating better, exercising, taking care of myself later. But later never came. There's a cruel irony to life. When we are young and strong, we feel invincible. We push our bodies to the limit, indulge in unhealthy habits, and shrug off warnings like they don't apply to us. Then one day, without warning, we wake up to a body that no longer moves the way it used to, a heart that struggles to keep up, joints that ache, and energy that fades too quickly. And by the time we realize how precious our health is, we find ourselves longing for a body we once took for granted. In Buddhism, the body is often compared to a borrowed vessel, something that is not truly ours to keep but must be cared for while we are here. Imagine being given a beautiful boat to navigate a vast ocean. If you neglect it, if you let the sails rot, the wood crack, the anchor rust, there will come a day when it can no longer carry you forward. And yet, so many people treat their bodies as though they can always repair them later. But later is not promised. Later is the lie we tell ourselves to justify neglecting what matters now. The Buddha taught that health is the foundation of everything. Without it, even the richest man cannot enjoy his wealth. The wisest man cannot focus his mind. The happiest man will eventually lose his joy. Health is not just about the body. It is the foundation upon which our entire experience of life is built. There is a story of an elderly monk who was once a powerful, energetic teacher. In his younger years, he never rested. He traveled, taught, meditated for hours without sleep, barely ate. His devotion was admirable, but his body suffered. One day, as he lay frail and sick in his old age, he sighed and said to his students, "I cared for my mind, but I neglected the house in which it lives." His words serve as a warning. We spend our youth chasing after wealth, status, and achievements, often neglecting the very thing that allows us to pursue them, our health. And by the time we look back, we realize that all the success in the world means nothing if we don't have the strength to enjoy it. Every moment you mistreat your body, you borrow from your future self. Each cigarette, each sleepless night, each skipped workout is a withdrawal, and one day your body will ask for repayment. But by then, it may be too late. How to live without this regret? Move your body daily. Even a short walk can make a difference. Eat foods that nourish you, not just those that satisfy cravings. Prioritize rest and sleep. The mind and body are one. Both need care. Approach health with gratitude, not obligation. Your body is your temple. Meditate on impermanence. Realizing that your body is not invincible will help you cherish and care for it now. At the end of your life, you will not wish you had worked more hours or made more money, but you might wish you had taken that walk, eaten that nourishing meal, or cared for your body with the same devotion you gave to your ambitions. Do not wait until your health is gone to appreciate its value, because by then, all the regret in the world will not bring it back. Regret 4. Not taking more risks in life. I played it safe. I stayed in a job I hated. I stayed in a place that didn't make me happy. I let fear stop me from traveling, starting over, loving fully. And now all I have left are what-ifs. There's something haunting about the words, what if? They linger in the corners of our minds, whispering about the life we could have lived, the dreams we could have chased, the love we could have embraced. And yet so many people arrive at the end of their lives carrying a heart full of what-ifs, not because they failed, but because they never tried. There is a Buddhist concept called Shoshin, or beginner's mind. It teaches us to approach life with curiosity and openness rather than fear. A child doesn't hesitate before taking their first steps. They stumble, they fall, but they always get up again. Somewhere along the way, we lose this sense of wonder and replace it with caution. We start avoiding risks, clinging to what feels familiar, even if it makes us unhappy. But here's the truth. Nothing is truly safe. Staying in a job you hate does not guarantee security. Avoiding love does not guarantee a painless life. Choosing routine over adventure does not guarantee happiness. The only real risk is not living fully. A Zen master once told the story of a man who spent his entire life standing at the shore, staring at the ocean. He longed to cross it, to explore the unknown, to discover something greater than himself. But every time he considered stepping onto a boat, fear held him back. What if I fail? What if I get lost? What if the waves are too strong? And so he stayed where he was. One day in his old age, he realized something heartbreaking. The shore had been eroding beneath his feet the entire time. He had never been safe. He had only been standing still. Fear of failure keeps us from growth. But in Buddhism, failure is not the enemy. Attachment to comfort is. The great Zen master Shunryu Suzuki once said, "In the beginner's mind there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind there are few. Regret is born from choosing safety over possibility." But life was never meant to be lived in a straight line. It is unpredictable, messy, and sometimes terrifying, but it is also breathtakingly beautiful. Think of the moments that shaped you. Were they the times when everything went according to plan? Or were they the times when you took a leap of faith, not knowing where you would land? An elderly woman once told her granddaughter, "I don't regret the things I did. I regret the things I didn't do. The love I didn't fight for, the risks I didn't take, the chances I let slip away." Her voice trembled as she spoke. Don't be like me. Say yes more. Chase your dreams. Live while you still can. How to live without this regret. Say yes more often, even when it scares you. Remember, failure is a lesson, not a loss. Step outside of your comfort zone at least once a day. Meditate on impermanence. Fear loses its power when you accept that nothing is permanent anyway. Trust that the unknown is not your enemy. It is where life begins. At the end of your life, will you look back and wonder, what if? Or will you smile, knowing that you took the leap, that you lived boldly, that you embraced the adventure of being alive? The choice is yours. Regret. 5. Not being present and enjoying the small moments. I was always looking ahead, chasing the next goal, the next milestone. I thought happiness was something I had to achieve, something waiting for me in the future, but I was wrong. Happiness was always right in front of me. I was just too busy to notice. How often do we convince ourselves that joy is just around the corner, that we will be happy once we get the promotion, once we lose the weight, once we buy the house, once we retire? And yet, for those who reach the end of their lives, the most heartbreaking realization is that happiness was never something to be achieved. It was something to be noticed. There is a well-known Buddhist teaching: the past is gone, the future is uncertain, and the present moment is the only place where life happens. But how many of us actually live like we believe this? We spend our days lost in thought, consumed by planning, worrying, replaying the past, or fearing the future. We forget that life is happening now. There is a Zen story about a man being chased by a tiger. Running as fast as he can, he reaches the edge of a cliff and sees a vine hanging over the edge. Desperate, he grabs onto it and dangles above the abyss. Above him, the tiger snarls. Below him, jagged rocks wait to break his fall. As he clings to the vine, he notices a single ripe strawberry growing beside him. Without hesitation, he reaches out, plucks the fruit, and eats it. "How sweet it tastes," he whispers. "That strawberry is this moment. No matter what is happening around us, stress, challenges, uncertainty, there is always something to appreciate right now. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of laughter, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, the feeling of your breath as it fills your lungs." An elderly man once reflected on his life and said, I wish I had known that the best moments were the simple ones. I thought happiness was in the big achievements, but now I realize it was in the small things. The way my wife looked at me across the dinner table, the evening spent watching the sunset, the laughter of my children. But I was too busy chasing more to notice them. We spend so much time chasing more that we forget to appreciate what we already have. But Buddhism teaches that true happiness is found in the present moment. A Zen master once asked his students, "Where will you find happiness?" One answered, "In love." Another said, "In success." The master shook his head and simply picked up his cup of tea. "Happiness is here," he said, sipping slowly. "The truth is, life is made up of small, ordinary moments. If you cannot find joy in the simple things, you will never find it anywhere." How to live without this regret? Slow down. Appreciate what is happening right now. Practice mindfulness daily. The mind is like a restless monkey, always jumping from one branch to another. Train it to be still. Be grateful for simple joys. Write them down. Savor them. Put down the phone. Be present with the people around you. Listen with your heart, not just your ears. Take a deep breath. Feel it fill your lungs. Let it remind you, you are alive. Here, in this moment. At the end of your life, you will not wish you had worked more or achieved more. You will wish you had noticed more. So start today. Live today. Because happiness isn't waiting for you in the future. It's happening right now. Closing message. Regret is a heavy burden to carry, but the beauty of life is that as long as you are breathing, you have the power to change. You still have time. Time to speak your truth. Time to mend broken relationships. Time to take the risks you've been afraid of. Time to care for your body and your soul. Time to pause, to appreciate, to live. Every moment is an invitation to choose presence over distraction, courage over fear, love over indifference. And when your final day comes, and it will come for all of us, you will want to look back and know that you truly lived, that you loved deeply, that you were present for the life you were given. So ask yourself, what will I do differently today? Because the future is not promised, but this moment, this breath, is yours. If this message resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Quiet Wisdom for more reflections, more lessons, and more ways to bring peace and meaning into your life. Thank you for being here. May you live with intention. May you love without regret, and may you find joy in the simple moments that make life truly beautiful.